Hey everyone. Alrighty. Hi Luke. I'm gonna switch the music up a little bit. So I hope you guys had a good week. As always, I'm gonna get started with the community poll. I'll be using my Earth, Moon, and Shadow 111 limited edition. So I'm gonna just get this all shuffled, nice and warmed up for you guys. I I feel like I should have pulled out one of my moon decks, but maybe I'll do that next week. Get a nice shuffle going. This deck shuffles so beautifully. I love this edition. All right, let's get a nice shuffle. As I'm shuffling, focus on the energies that are around us as a community. Let's see what we should be focusing on. Let's see. First card. Let's pull this one. Ooh, we have the nest. This is the spiritual hearth, comfort, and well being. I feel like maybe this is the time of the season. So we're in spring now, right? So things are starting to grow and change and just blossom around us. But this I feel like this card is a reminder to create a space for yourself. It doesn't have to be sacred, just somewhere where you feel like you can ground and root yourself, somewhere where you feel comfortable. Um, just a nice safe space where you feel like you can allow yourself to both relax and grow if need be, away from the chaos of the world. um the nest could be something like your home or your home away from home, whatever that might be. Let's see what our second card is. Oh, and we're keeping with the theme. I love this. This is the hatchling, so innocence, inner child, and curiosity. So maybe a space that makes you feel more connected with your inner child if you do inner child work, or it just maybe even more literally than that, a space from your childhood. um for me, I love being able to go home and like sleep in my childhood bedroom and just kind of, my mom has not left it exactly how I left it, but it still has, I feel like, the energies of my youth in it. So if you have a space like that, maybe try visiting it if you can, or this could be a sign that maybe you should recreate it, like give yourself a space where you feel like that again. And then our last card we have is Winter's Bone. This is the reflection, transformation, and rebirth card. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like when I can reconnect with like my childhood surroundings, it just makes me feel really refreshed. It reminds me where I came from. It reminds me how far I've gone in life, but it also feels very much like and this will vary from person to person obviously, but for me, um it feels like it's always going to be my home away from my new home. It's always like my original, the OG home. um so I feel like overall, as a community, focus on how you can build your nest. Find ways to make your nest feel like you can connect it back to your inner child. If you can't if you don't actually have access to your childhood nest, so to say. And then ultimately, your goal is to find a way to reflect on it in ways that bring forth transformation and rebirth. I really love these cards. So if you would like a more in-depth reading to include these oracle cards, make sure you use the tip link below. But actually the queue is really quiet tonight. So Luke, I don't know if you wanted a reading, but I will kind of hang out and see. And while I wait, let's see. I think the full moon is either tomorrow or Sunday. Let me see. Mm, neither. It's on Monday. Wow, we're that far off. Okay. So Monday is the full moon. Um, let's see. That is in Libra. The period of the Libra moon is the time of attempts to bring your feelings and emotions to an equilibrium. Air nature of the Libra sign will keep you in uncertainty and will make decision making more difficult. Ooh, seek for equilibrium and embrace and emotional bonds with your loved ones. Nice. Okay. Ha! So maybe you should pay attention to this coming new moon, Luke, or full moon rather. Oh my God, must be excited for the new moon subconsciously. Yeah, pay attention to the energies of this full moon, Luke. See how it affects you. You'll have to let us know. Mostly let Sil know. All right, Luke, go ahead. Put your question in the chat. Hey, midnight, welcome. Even though you should be sleeping, isn't it super late over there? Hashtag unicorns. 11:15. Oh, that's not terrible. I mean, that's like I'm still awake by then, so if you'd like a reading midnight, just go ahead and use exclamation point join and join the queue. All right, let me get this nice and shoveled here, Luke. Let's see what advice your guides have for you this moon phase. One more card. Okay. You have the Queen of Wands. You have the Six of Six? No, Five. Sorry, Five of Wands. And then you have the Knight of Swords. So, you have an interesting balance here because like you have a lot of fiery energy and then you have a lot of air energy which complements each other really really well. And when I say complement, I like they kind of strengthen each other, so to speak. So I'll just kind of go in order here. So with the Queen of Wands, I feel like this next moon phase is going to be really inspirational to you in one way or another. So with the Queen of Wands, this is like the phase where you feel more connected even to your inspirations, to the things that you're passionate about. So you've been feeling a little disconnected from that or just feel like it's kind of been an afterthought, so to speak. I think in this next phase, your guides are saying, like, hey, reconnect with the things that you're passionate about, like the things that you have just kind of been making a lower priority, and start to nurture them. With the Five of Wands, I think it's like a warning about don't don't take that message to mean take on everything, right? So the Five of Wands tends to be about competing for energy, so to speak. So if you go from like 0 to 100. Really what you're still doing is deprioritizing things that you're truly passionate about. So prioritize the things that come to mind. So as I'm talking, I'm sure things are kind of pinging in your brain, and prioritize them so that way they're not fighting for the number one spot constantly, because if everything's fighting for number one, nothing is truly number one. There's nothing that you're actually putting the time and energy into. And then on the flip side here, we have the Knight of Swords. So this is where you need to be a little more thoughtful about things. Be careful about just rushing from thing to thing. Knights in general tend to they embrace that fiery energy that we see over here. They're very keen on pushing towards their ambitions, but the Knight of Swords can sometimes be a little thoughtless. They tend to be a little hasty, not so much as the Knight of Wands. They're very much more like, rush forward and think later. The Knight of Swords instead, they have the capability to make sound decisions. It's just sometimes they just let the excitement and the new ideas uh, get the better of them. So just be careful about letting that happen. And this is where I see a lot of the reflection of this Five of Swords, or Five of Wands, rather. Um, be careful about letting competing things derail you from actually making any forward movement in terms of the things that you're wanting to do, whatever projects or hobbies, or just, I know you like to do your shadow work, and I think like inner child work, stuff like that. So whatever it is that really comes to your mind to do, prioritize that and make it a goal to do that. And yeah, I feel like that's kind of. Oh, I will say the only other thing I kind of like a warning is, as you get into this phase with the wands here, that fire energy from the knights, but the air energy from the swords, be careful about letting yourself burn out, right? So air and fire tend to mix well in terms of fueling energy, but sometimes it can be very combustive. And what that ends up being is like a spark of energy, and then it kind of fizzles out. So be careful about that. I think that's the only warning I see. Hi, Sunny. Welcome. All right, Midnight. Go ahead, put your question in the chat. Your constant problem is really what your guides are always warning you about. Don't burn yourself out, and prioritize the things that you really want to get done. And just so you guys know, I'm doing our readings today from the Unfolding Path Tarot, and our community read, if you'd like to go back and watch it, was from the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. Okay, so Midnight, let's see. Same sort of question. Let's see what your guides think or have to say about the next moon phase. All right, let's see. First card. A lot of wands energy here. I love it. Oops. Uh-oh. Oh no. Okay, hold on, guys. Oh, my cards like went all the way under the desk. Okay. All right, let's get you your last card. One more card. You do bring chaos, like dang. Ooh. Okay. So this is an interesting array of cards here. We have the Page of Wands, we have the King of Pentacles, and then we have the Lover's card. So, um, let me think for a second. So, I think that you kind of have a similar message about embracing the idea of doing things you're passionate about. But in regards to the page versus like Luke having the queen, I think the page is more so like studying and discovering new things. Whereas with Luke's, I think it was more so like he already has things that he's been passionate about and he needs to prioritize them. Yours is more so like rediscovering oneself, or discovering the things that, or discovering new things that you might not have given your time to really connect with. So that's kind of what I see for the page of wands. And also the pages tend to be like the messenger, so there could be a sign that like over this next moon phase that you are going to be getting news of something, maybe news of a new hobby, just something discovered that you that connect with you on a more passionate level. And it could be in relationship to just your, so here, and of course I'm a little biased because I know you, right? So with the king of pentacles, I wonder if this is like news about your health or just your physical well-being overall. So the king of pentacles to me is always the king that feels like he is like very settled into his kingdom, very confident in the things that he has built around him, and really therefore has a vision for how they want to move forward, a vision for the future. um but the king also kind of reaps the rewards of the pentacle suit. So I feel like if we're looking at the pentacles in regards to like the physical, being able to reap the rewards of the journey that you have been through and then getting news about that journey, that's kind of where I feel like this kind of dives into. And then here with the lovers card, so the lovers is like an interesting pull in connection with everything else. So a lot of times when I get the lovers card, I kind of think like, oh, partnerships, unionships, decisions that need to be made. But there's also like the side of the lovers card that talks about overcoming challenges. And a lot of times, you you do that by making the right decisions for yourself. It's like, if you're this king and you have the confidence to stand in your own convictions, that means you're making the right decisions for yourself. And I think the lovers card is kind of like a sign where, like, at the end of this journey, within this like next moon phase that we're not entering, but we're, you know, this phase that we're in regards to the moon, you feel like you can be happy with the decisions that you've made for yourself, because you feel like you can embrace a lot of this energy that you get from this king of pentacles. So I would say that if we were to surmise this or summarize this from what your guides or the universe has to say, is like overall that your journey, your physical journey, your life, your resources around you, um is getting to a point where you finally are going to start to feel comfortable. And perhaps that could be from some news that is brought your way from this page, or also just being able to feel like you have the energy and space to feel more like your old self again. And then at the end of that, feeling like you've made all of the right decisions for yourself. And this feels very much like a self-love kind of card, like, loving yourself inside and out. That's the duality that I see here. And no, there's no four of swords. But with the pentacles, and with what is the lovers card? Lovers is air, so it's still a lot of movement there. But yeah, I feel like this, and remember, pentacles is very slow moving, so this is the center of your journey, but I feel like it's like seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and feeling like you are doing right by yourself. But yep, no Four of Swords. Or no Four of Swords adjacent cards. Mm. That's such a good idea, Luke. Building a bond with your deck, making that part of your journey. That could be something fun to do. That could be the and with that page of wands, that could be where you get the message from. Who knows? That was a good connection, Luke. Good job. All right, Sunny Days, you are up next. I can't wait to see your photos when you get your new deck. Sunny, I don't do like third party readings, but I can see what the energy between you guys is if you're cool with that. You, you're reading both of them simultaneously? So what am I doing? I'm trying to read more this year. So mostly I've been like listening to audiobooks and I recently decided to treat myself to a Kindle because I like gadgets and of course, why not, right? So I am now getting into ebooks. So it's been fun. It's been a fun journey. Okay, so Sunny, let's see what the energy between you and Gonzalo are. Or is. Sorry. All right. We have a lot of wands tonight. A lot of wands energy amongst the community. And our first repeat, we have our page is back. Let's see, one more. All right, all wands. So we have the Knight of Wands, the Page of Wands, and then we have the Nine of Wands. So overall, you have wands. Wands, I mentioned previously, are the card of the element that represents wands is fire. So there's a lot of energy, a lot of warmth and growth. There's a lot of passion and creativity behind all of these cards in general. Um, I would say I probably see Gonzalo as the knight here and you, Sunny, as the page. I'm going to describe them. I could have that backwards. It's prone to happen. But I'm going to start in the middle with the page and then work out from there because of how I see these cards. So I mentioned before that the Page of Wands likes to explore that creativity. So pages, I mentioned they're the sometimes can represent messages, but in this case, I think that they more so represent like the youthful, vibrant, vivacious kind of energy. Just the energy of youth where you feel like you have room to want to explore and go on adventures and stuff like that. A lot of times it is representative of wanting to learn and grow yourself because the page kind of has more of the most youthful energy of the court cards where they're discovering the world of exploration. So I feel like how that fits into your question, I feel like you are exploring the world of yourself and Gonzalo and what that could look like. And you have these ideas of what a possible relationship could be. Whereas, like with the knights here, the knights, while technically a little more mature than the page, they're still very impulsive. I mentioned previously in another reading with the Knight of Swords that knights are ambitious. They like to push towards what they want. And the fact that, so you're facing forward, Gonzalo is facing towards you. So it feels very much like his energy is being drawn into you, or you're drawing him in, one or the other. It feels very much like both, honestly. The knights, though, I will warn, with the Knight of Wands, then this is the most impulsive knight. Tends not to necessarily make the right decisions because they're not thinking about things. They just act on impulse. They act on the first feeling that they have, not even first thought, first feeling that they have. So that can kind of come off when it comes to like relationships, that can kind of come off as really like fickle and superficial in a way, because there's no real way to build connections that way, because people like that tend to be like, oh, let's do this, this seems like fun. And then, the people that kind of go from like hobby to hobby and friends groups to friends groups, and it feels like you kind of know them on a very top level. And they don't seem like bad people, and oftentimes they're not. They just don't know how to slow down. And conversely, that's reflected here in the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands, while still a good card overall, just like energy wise, this is a card of resilience. So it very much gives off the. You said he sounds like him. He doesn't think before he acts. It feels very much like, if you feel like this person is a good person, but it's hard to connect with them because of that really, like, I would say even chaotic energy, you would have to embrace the resilience of this journey. Um, Nine of Wands is, it's like the card before the end of the road. And I mean that in a good way. So this is where you determine whether you are gonna just, okay, sorry, my cat wants uppies. Um you're going to determine if it's worth being persistent, like this whole connection here, worth the energy to put in, the time and energy, basically. But what I'll say about this overall, just kind of zooming out again and looking at the fact that this is all wands, this gives a very like fast and furious kind of relationship that doesn't necessarily last the longest, because there's really nothing else there other than just like passion, right? And that isn't enough to facilitate long-term stuff. Now, if you're just looking for something like, hit it and quit it kind of thing, something short-term and fun, then maybe this is up your alley. But if not, I would say that to look at the cards that are missing, we don't have any real cups, we don't have any swords, we have nothing thoughtful, we have nothing grounding from the pentacles. You might have to find ways to interject that energy into this connection. And if you've been friends for years, that might be a hard dynamic to change. So that goes back to this Nine of Wands. So if you feel like it's worth it, I mean, ultimately it's up to you. I kind of painted the picture. I'm sure I confirmed a few things that you were already feeling. Like, you guys seem to have like a fun energy between you guys. There's nothing bad, which is probably also what you were looking for. But at the end of the day, it's your decision whether you think it's worth the time and effort. You're on the edge. Yeah. It feels very much like, like, what decision do I make? But I feel like if you give yourself time to think, which is where I see a lot of that page, where you kind of think, and or the page is willing to study a situation before diving in, which is kind of antithesis to the knight. So just be careful about being drawn into that chaos. You're welcome, Sunny. All right, up next we have Whimsically. And then after that, we have Amelia. Welcome. Yeah. Luna has some thoughts too. She has a lot of thoughts. I'm loving all the wand energy tonight. Like it um what are your guides like? Do you just mean like characteristics? Just to double check. Cause I can determine that. But if you mean like physically, like what they look like or like names, I can't quite do that. So I just want to double check. You're welcome, Amelia. Thank you for joining me tonight. Right, Luna? Yeah. All right. Hold on, let me get this cat out of the way. You can see like her little tail and everything. Okay. Lay down, mama. Let's see, whimsically, what your guys are like. Now, I will say for a 3-card reading, you'll probably get surface level answers just to get you started. The page is back. I do recommend this be a like deeper reading. Obviously don't have to come to me or anything, but just I would say that this is probably something that will get you started. But if you want to dive into like a real deeper understanding of things, I do recommend deeper reading. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. So we have our repeat card of the night is the page. This is our third time getting the page out of 4 questions. So we have the Page of Wands, we have the Judgment card, and the Chariot card. So, interesting combo. I feel like your guides really like to focus on how you move through the world. So I feel like, and what I mean is, I feel like there are guides that would rather focus on protecting you from things in the world than there are the guides that like to kind of help nudge you as you move along. They kind of keep you not on a specific path, but just kind of on a straight and narrow, so you don't actually accidentally veer off into the ether. And then I feel like there are the guides that would rather you just reach out to them and they'll step in as needed. But these guys feel more like the middle one, where they are kind of like seeing how you navigate the world and just lightly nudging you without interfering in huge ways. With the Judgment card, I'm going to start in the middle and then we'll talk about everything else. But with the Judgment card, this card tends to be like the card that makes decisions feel very clear. It's like the sign that you kind of have a clear idea of what to do. And it helps make, if you're at a decision point, I feel like these guides help you see one option as being much more clear of an answer than another. And then the Judgment is really like the awakening card, where your path forward seems to almost just manifest itself and become obvious. So on the one side, we have the Page of Wands. I mentioned the Page of Wands in a lot of different ways. But it kind of goes back to the idea of the page being the messengers. So I feel like your guides like to point out ways for you to go down paths that allow you to explore your own inner creativity, your own passions, the things that really make you like excited and bring energy into your life. They're the ones that kind of push you to either like try new things that seem like they're going to be fun, or help you identify like I mentioned before, being at a crossroad, identify the path that feels more like it matches your energy. And then on the other side, we have the chariot. The chariot is excuse me, hold on one second. Sorry, hiccups. So the chariot's the forward momentum card. This is the card that really indicates to me that this is all about wanting you to move forward. Um the thing about the chariot that I like is, if you really think back on the concept of like chariot races and back old school, how they used to basically make it a competition. It's like it feels very much like, oh, your guides are watching out for you to keep you like in a path that they feel like you would really enjoy, and their ultimate goal is to make sure that you feel like you're winning. But I do feel like they're also, if you really wanted to with this page, I feel like if you reached out to them, they would be a more direct presence. But I think their ultimate goal is to just be like, kind of like the little nudge you need from time to time if you're feeling lost, or kind of feeling like, I don't know which options to choose, that kind of thing. So it feels very wholesome ultimately. And I think this is a really beautiful representation, in my opinion, the judgment card, of just like, if we look at it, um, just kind of like a nice effervescent energy around you, where like ultimately, if you think of yourself as this person and then the guides as the lights around them, it's just like a guiding light kind of thing. Think of it that way. But I would say too, if this is something that you really like, definitely, dive deeper into the concept of who your guides are, and um like anything else. I don't know whatever ever other questions you might have. But that was a really fun question. Thank you, Whimsically. I've never actually gotten to do something like that before, so I appreciate it. Fun Friday. Amelia, you are up next. Go ahead, put your question in the chat as I stretch. You're welcome. So I don't do feelings, but I can see what the energy is between you guys, if you're okay with that. Like, I won't do readings on people that aren't here. So I won't pry into how they're feeling or thinking or intentions for anybody. Whoops. All right, sounds good. Okay. Oh, dang. All right, let's see. Melia, what is the energy between you and Keanu? All right, next card. So it's very interesting because from time to time I get cards that counter how I initially feel about a reading. I always try to give my unbiased opinion, but I do like to point out when sometimes my intuition and the cards don't align, and this is one of those times. So generally, when people tell me they're in no contact with someone, it's usually for a right reason. Um, but the cards are telling me something otherwise. So in this case, you have the Two of Cups, you have the Lovers, and then you have the Strength card. This is really saying, like, this gives me the vibe of, like, that saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder. That's very much what I feel when I look at this. So I'm just gonna kind of go in order here. The Two of Cups is kind of like in tarot, the cliche like couples card. And I feel like in this case, it's like a sign that there is room for there is still love between you guys. Um, it's just sometimes we need to distance ourselves from something to see that. Like, if you think of the concept of taking a step back to see the big picture, that kind of thing. That's the energy that I get from all of this, where ultimately you still have love for each other. It's just with the lovers card in the middle, what really is happening is there needs to be a decision that's made, and the decision is really about this partnership. So the lovers card can be taken literally as like a sign of like, oh, you guys will get back together, but that's a little unrealistic. The more realistic look at this is there's still love between you guys, but you need to decide if that is enough. And by that I mean, with the strength card, is the love between you guys strong enough to keep this unionship together, or bring it back together rather, right? Because you guys have been in no contact for quite a bit of time. So the lovers card also has the element of, it represents the element of air. Air is communication. So if there's never a door for communication to happen between you guys, you could probably safely assume that despite there being love between you guys, the decision kind of decided itself, right? There's no communication. But if you get to the point where you can find a way to communicate, this is where the doors start to open a little bit. This is where you can determine if, again, as I mentioned, you have the strength to reconnect and restart, or sometimes this can even be a sign of the strength to walk away. This feels very much so like you're in flux, and again, this is very counter to my initial like intuition of how this reading was going to go. So I'm very um I'm very surprised by that, but I'm trying to pull my own thoughts out of it, right? So I would say, if to put the energy, or put the, what's the word I'm looking for? To put the control back in your hands. Um is there a way to respectfully find a way to communicate with Keanu in a way that doesn't feel invasive? So that way you can start to open up this door, and reconnect. You're welcome, Amelia. Now, and I know this isn't like necessarily like the answer to all of your questions, but I feel like it answers the foundational of, what is going on between you guys. Like, I'm sure, like, if we peeled the layers back, you're probably wondering, like, is there any love between you guys? The answer is yes. Is there, oh, would there be a way to fight to reconnect? The answer is yes. But the thing that's in flux is the ability to, like, do you have that do you have that opportunity? I'm glad it could give you some clarity. I wish you luck on your journey. Hi, Ari. Welcome to the queue. Oh, guys, don't forget to like this video. It helps with the algorithm. Alrighty, Ari, I will finish with you. I'm going to close the queue. Go ahead and put your questions in the chat. Alrighty. Mm, I mean, as long as you're not like 21 right now, yeah, I can ask that. Let's see. I'm just gonna ask if you'll get married between 21 and 23. We'll see what that looks like. All right, first card. Wands, wands, wands. Queen is a repeat for the night. And last card. So we have the Queen of Wands, the Empress, and oh, this is actually in reverse, surprisingly. Okay, I don't have this deck in reverse, so I will I guess I'll just take that. So the man. So I'm gonna say that maybe not between 21 and 23. Yeah, this is the Ace of Pentacles. It's in reverse. I would say probably not between 21 and 23. I feel like this story feels very much like a coming into oneself, but the thing that gives me pause is the Pentacles in reverse. Um, this is and the reason is because pentacles generally are a good sign of starting something fresh, and the Ace of Pentacles specifically is like being able to start like the family journey successfully. But in reverse, there's delays. It's not really happening when you expect it to happen. It's like having a false start. So I feel like it's like maybe with these cards you're close, but not within the time frame that you're asking for. Miriam, I actually closed my queue for the night, so I'm sorry. You can check me next week though. I will be back. Yeah, so that's what I see with the Ace of Pentacles. But what I will say though is with the Queen of Wands and the Empress um embraces that earth energy as well. I feel like the Empress is saying that you are nurturing by this time frame, you're nurturing a relationship that could lead there, especially with this queen energy as well, where you're just building you're building like your I don't know, lack of better words, like your queendom. This is from reading stories too much, but you're building that up. You're building the relationship up with yourself, with this person, but it's just not 21 to 23. It just seems like it is cutting it short. So I will say too, one of the things with the Ace of Pentacles in reverse is like the concept of a false start. So now if you decide that, if in this age range at 21 to 23, you decide that I'm going to get married at all costs, um, then you might get married, but it might not be the marriage that's for you, if you get my drift. So what I would say is if you're embracing this energy of being a queen, finding this empress energy where you're nurturing really healthy relationship, to the point that you feel confident, passionate, and really connected with your person, then you probably shouldn't rush that. 2027 sounds so far, but it's literally 3 years away. Like, that's crazy. Like, 2027 sounds like the distant future. Like, I should be reading fantasy novels about 2027. It's crazy. Let me go back and read. Hold on one second. I feel like 3 years probably feels long to you because 'cause you're young. But in reality, 3 years ago, we were still in COVID. So much has changed in 3 years. A lot can, like, change in 3 years and, like, be in a whole different world. So, yeah. The yeah, I mean, I get what you want, but I'm also telling you what I see in the cards. So who knows too? Like maybe in a year that energy is gonna be totally different. It's just right now and the path that you're on right now is not what you're looking for. Who knows? You've check back in 6 months, check back in a year. Could be the same reading, but this way. Who knows? It's weird to me that people get married under 25, honestly. Um, it was weird for people my generation, I feel like, and I'm 35. I don't think that's I mean, I don't think it's abnormal. I don't think it's as normal as it was the generation before me, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with it either. I don't know how to word that, but yeah, I mean, I just sometimes the universe has different plans for us and it sucks. And that is a hashtag mood. Alrighty, guys. So I did the community read earlier with the Earth, Moon, and Shadow. So if you want to go back and check that out for the energy of the like community for this, the next few days, go ahead and check that out. I will be back here next. I'm gonna stick with Fridays again for a little bit, since I am busy on Thursdays. So you can catch me back here on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And outside of that, you can catch me over on Discord. And there we go. So, if you'd like to, you can hang out with me on Discord. And my goal for, I would say, this late spring, summer is to build my Instagram up. So you can always rejoin me over there. And otherwise, I will catch you guys next week. You're very welcome, Ari. Good luck with everything. And I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye.